70s. What a time to be alive.
I shall resign the presidency effective at noon tomorrow.
The body had been dumped 15 feet down an embankment in a residential neighborhood.
Alright, but wait till 1977.
Tomorrow at a theater near you. Star Wars, rated PG.
After all the mayhem that Americans witnessed on and off screen during the 70s, Star Wars was the escapist heaven that everyone craved for. Unsurprisingly, it was the biggest box office success that year. But a more curious case, in my opinion, is how a southern action comedy beat Spielberg and James Bond in ticket sales and even came close second after Star Wars.
Smokey.
Smokey.
The premise of Smokey and the Bandit is simple. Two dudes are bootlegging illegal beer from Texas all the way to Georgia in less than 2 days for a stupid bet.
Big and Lil Enos Burdette make that same bet with every gear jammer they can.
But that's not why they're pursued by the whole police of the South. In fact, they don't even know they're bootlegging beer. The real reason is that our hero Bandit picked up a girl on the highway, but he didn't know she was fleeing from a wedding where she was about to marry the son of Sheriff Buford T. Justice.
Where are you, you son bitch?
He pursues Bandit all the way to Georgia and gets the whole police force to chase after him. It sure sounds like a lot of fun, but how did Smokey and the Bandit become so popular? The key to that is, where did this fascination with cars and the South come from? Car movies were all the rage in the 70s. The genre even crossed into other countries, most notably Australia with the Mad Max franchise. Even if the golden age of car manufacturing in the United States was coming to an end, the inherent freedom that cars and the American open roads were associated with was a perfect representation of rebellion against the government. But this freedom was threatened. By the early 70s, the US got irreversibly dependent on Arab oil because its domestic production wasn't enough for consumer demand. But in 1973, they were cut off from this supply because of their support of Israel in the Yom Kippur War. When gas prices rose up, Nixon's solution was passing a law that put the speed limit across all American interstate highways at 55 miles per hour. This restriction was met with resistance and protests, and Smokey and the Bandit portrayed exactly what people felt at the time. The sheriff and law enforcement in general are made fools of throughout the movie, as they fail time and again to capture Bandit. The South had a resurgence in the 70s like never before. The manufacturing business in the northern states was failing and leading to severe unemployment. Many Americans started moving to major southern cities, where there were growing job opportunities and cheaper living costs. The South was modernizing, but it was also praised for preserving its unique culture that made it stand out from the North. Smokey and the Bandit used this renewed interest in the South and helped popularize it even more. The theme song Eastbound and Down by Jerry Reed became a top country music hit and an instantly recognizable element of Smokey and the Bandit.
Eastbound and down, loaded up and trucking, we gonna do what they say can't be done.
And of course, Bandit's Pontiac Trans Am became a sensation all over the country that year.
Would you welcome Mr. Burt Reynolds?
There's no one better to promote this movie than one of the most iconic Southerners and biggest movie stars in the world at the time. Although he was born in Michigan, he grew up in Florida and wanted to make a movie for the South that showed it in a more positive light than what outsiders thought it to be. In his autobiography, But Enough About Me, Burt Reynolds said, "I've played a lot of Southerners, from Louis Medlock to Bud Orville, and I hated the labels the critics gave my films, like hick flicks and redneck movies. They thought the IQ of everyone who saw them dropped 10 points. This made me angry. They weren't hick flicks, they were movies about the South." Director Hal Needham himself was from Tennessee, and he knew his culture much better than anyone else in Hollywood. Before his directing career, he was also a very successful stuntman and stunt coordinator. He was even Burt's stunt double for many years, but he couldn't keep on breaking his bones at this age and decided to move to directing, and boy did it work out for him. In spite of the cultural phenomenon that Smokey and the Bandit would become in the United States, the movie wasn't an immediate hit. Universal planned Smokey's premiere in New York, where it flopped, of course. Needham and Reynolds insisted that it was a movie made for the South and that's where it should be released, allowing it to naturally spread by word of mouth throughout the country. Well, what do you know, it worked. Everyone lined up to see the movie, and after it was released everywhere else, its success preceded it. Thanks to this late but fortunate change in distribution strategy, Smokey and the Bandit's legacy is still alive and well to this day.